Hey gamers, it's G from the corner, and wow, what a week it's been. What an interesting week it has been. Wouldn't you say so?
It's the week of all time.
It's literally every morning, every afternoon, every evening. There's been some new crazy leak rumor about the Switch 2. All right, whether it's they've started manufacturing, journalists acting coy about stuff, Pioro coming back from the grave, or literal images and 3D models of the system appearing online. Like, there has been just so much going on, and there was so much smoke. I was expecting a reveal this week.
I wasn't. I'm saying it's October. Let's see if I'm right. But anyways, like you were saying, yeah.
I'm squarely on team next year now. But yeah, there wasn't anything. So part of me, it's kind of left some of the audience a little bit disappointed. It's with a very hardcore audience. Most of the people don't really care because Zelda's out next week anyway, and there's plenty of other gaming stuff going on. It was just kind of a thought, like, oh, could this be the week? And it's not the week, which is like unfortunate, but it's whatever, we'll move on, we'll live another day. But it's starting to get a few people a little impatient. I even saw some people on family boards ready to go buy PS5s, which was kind of funny. I'm guessing they were caught up in the Astrobot hype and didn't have one already. That's interesting because it makes me wonder, I had this idea brewing, both of us had this idea brewing for a little while. How could Nintendo mess up the introduction of what we assume will be called the Nintendo Switch 2?
Yeah, because as of right now, honestly, Nintendo has the next generation on a silver platter. Xbox fucked up because they're Xbox, and Sony, they're still doing okay, but recent decisions and recent things are just not looking good for them. And now we just look over at Nintendo, we're just they're looking pretty good. How do I say it? So Switch 2. It has the chance to just flood the competition, but Nintendo always likes to fuck themselves up somehow, and I'm wondering what will be the way they might fuck themselves up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is just a little bit of devil's advocate here. We're gonna have some fun, kind of just toss out whatever bullshit that could possibly happen to screw up this pretty easy W for them.
Yeah.
All right. Even the recent rumors and leaks are showing that it will be a Switch 2, so. That already, they're not doing some crazy gimmick, which would have been the first thing I would say. But at this point, we all kind of know that's not happening. I'm just trying to, it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. Yeah. And it seems like we're far enough away from the reveal to where anything could really happen from now until then. So, yeah, what? I'm going to hand it off to you for the first one. What do you think?
I just want to say, for the record, I hope they do not fuck up, obviously. It'd be really cool if, the Switch 2 was announced and it comes down and we're like, oh, it's just a better Switch. That's what we all fucking wanted, right? But, maybe that won't happen. And the first way that I can sort of see them fucking up is the price. All right, so we all know there is the whole controversy about, the PS Pro is $700 and we're Canadian, so that's $950 here or whatever, right? And that's a lot of money. And looking at Nintendo, usually their consoles are priced pretty fairly. Switch was $300 US, $400 here. Wii U was whatever, the same around, maybe a bit higher. So with Switch 2, I'm thinking okay, logically, if it was $400, $500 US or Canadian, that would be cool. That would make sense to me, probably, because it's just a better Switch. But what if Nintendo is looking at the competition with how high the PS5 or the Xbox Series, whatever it is, and if the consoles are priced that high, what if we just do the same? What if we just copy what they're doing?
$600 Switch 2. I like it.
Oh my god! It pisses me off because Nintendo usually does not follow what the norm is, but they kind of did with the online because for the longest time Nintendo Online was free, and then come the Switch era, it's okay, Xbox and PlayStation are charging people for online. Let's do the same. So what if they just price it too high?
And to be fair, with the online point, Nintendo still looks the best in that category. They launched their online at about $20 a year US, and the other guys at the time were $60 a year. But since then, both the other two have dramatically increased the price of their online, while Nintendo's is still dirt cheap in comparison. It's practically a fifth of the price now.
I mean, don't forget the expansion pass, though, right?
Yeah, but it's not required to play online. You're getting the expansion pass for a bunch of old games, and I think the value is worth it for the old games. I've been subbed to the expansion pass. I think I actually just got renewed for it, the other day. So like I've been on it for a while, and I think it's a good, it's a good thing if it's a good thing if you want to play a few specific pieces of DLC and a bunch of old games without having to or I will just on the Switch because they don't sell them separately. But the most of the people I know, most of the audience is only paying the $20 a year for the basic online, which is again dirt cheap compared to the other guys. So
yeah, it's super cheap. Yeah, when people like had problems with the online before, but I think now it's kind of mellowed out and there's a lot more value to it with all the games they added. But like, okay, but relatively speaking though, like, what price point would you consider to be like, okay, Nintendo, why is this price too high for the Switch 2? What would you say is like too much?
600 US is my max, because you know what, honestly 400 used to be like the middle ground of what I expect, but now I think that's going to be the minimum price. I think it's either like the absolute minimum it'll be is 400 US, because what the OLED was 350. No way it is going to be the same price that the OLED launched with, especially with the price of everything else nowadays and with the price of the other consoles. I genuinely, 400 is the absolute lowest. I could see 450. I could even see 500. Honestly, 550 is like the highest bar. Like I think like if they do 550, I'm gonna be like, oh, they saw the PS5 Pro and realized they could get away with it, so they got away with it. But if they do 600, I think that's a misstep. That's a misfire.
100% agree. Like maybe what they could do is like have like a base model, which is like 400, 450, 500, and then have like a upgraded model, which is like just a bigger screen. Maybe it's
probably just be like an OLED or something.
Yeah, something like that, exactly. And like I would also agree. Like I'm hoping it's still 400, but if it's 500, I'd just be like, I see where they're coming from, I guess, in this day of age. But yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I
400. Really hope... Sorry, you saying 400?
I'll do 400 or 400, 450 makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, so 400 American. I think that'd be about like what 500, 520-ish American or Canadian, right?
That's what I think upwards of 550. Yeah, the Canadian dollar is fucking weird, right?
Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, but that's all right. First point is the price. You know what? That's honestly, I think I heard this on a podcast, and I kind of agree. I mean, based on how these things go, they probably haven't even like penciled in the price yet for all regions. Like they're probably still, we aren't going to hear about the price. If we hear about the console this year, we are not finding out the price alongside the announcement. We didn't for the Switch either. I remember people were trying to say, please let the Switch be $250, which is hilarious thinking back.
Yeah, but, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it was only 300, which wasn't much higher. People were cool with it. But yeah, we won't find out the price until probably like 2 months to launch. So that's
because they released the price at the what's it called, the presentation.
Yep, at the presentation we found out the price of the console along with the date and such.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, but also I was thinking as well, like the Switch, great console, you know what, but like it does have a lot of hardware issues, specifically pertaining to the Joy-Cons that they sort of never fixed, and I'm assuming they wanted to fix them eventually, but Nintendo was like, you know what, let's just wait for the Switch 2 to really crack down, let all the drift issues really pass by. But like there's a slight feeling in me that's just like, what if they just don't choose to fix them?
That'd be funny. I think there's a world where they don't bother with the sticks, honestly. I mean, like if it's an easy fix, it's an easy fix, but if it's going to cost them a lot of money, I could see them debating on whether or not it's worth doing or not.
I mean, I know. Fix, why was it fixed before then?
Because they just didn't. It would have required some thought, and they just didn't want to have any of that. I think there were like very minuscule attempts, if you want to even call them that, to make changes to the internal hardware. I swear the Joy-Cons were not the same. Like launch Joy-Cons and Joy-Cons in 2024 are not the same product, right?
They're probably not. Yeah, they're definitely not.
I don't think at this point. But the thing with, you know what? I'll say this. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We have seen those leaks of the model, which is definitely going to be on the thumbnail, guaranteed. That will 100% be on all my thumbnails for the next 6 months. But the sticks look different. The sticks kind of bump out a little bit more. They look more like big, like the Pro controller sticks. And that's apparently the model is a prototype, so that's even an older design that could look even better now. So, I don't know. I think they're going to fix the sticks, but they could easily just be like, actually no. And apparently the new controllers are going to use magnets, so there could even be issues with that. Who knows? What'll happen there.
If they just create more issues in the end as well. I don't know. It's like, I really hope they get fixed, because that was such a big issue and they just never fix on it. But personally, I'm a Pro pro controller user anyway, so my Joy-Cons drift, but I don't really use them that much either way. So
yeah,
either way, just having a product that a product that actually has good hardware, doesn't fail on you, it would be kind of cool. Would be sort of cool.
Yeah, it'd be kind of nice. It's actually funny. I think I have 4 pairs of Joy-Con now. 3 of them I bought around the time the system came out, and then the 4th one just came with the OLED when I bought it. All 3 of those original pairs started drifting. I sent them all in back when they were doing free repairs. I think they still are, actually. I think you could still get free repairs if you really sneak your way around it. And none of them have given me any issues since then. I think the blue ones might have for a little bit, but they're fine now. I haven't had any drift issues in forever. So it's a very case by case basis. So I haven't really thought much about Joy-Con drift, but I do know a lot of people who have and still have issues with the controllers. So it would be nice to see them fixed. But who knows? Who knows? All right.
I'm not sure. I've actually have a base day one Switch as well. So my Joy-Cons, even their drift, they're not working as well as before. But for 7 years, not bad. But you know what? That's beside the point. But I want to ask you a question as well. Okay, how great the Switch era was, despite everything, do you think Nintendo might be full of themselves after during the Wii era?
I think there's okay, here's the thing. I have been following what Mr. Furukawa, I forget his first name, has been saying. Current CEO of Nintendo has been since 2019. I keep forgetting it's already been 5 years since he's been the leader of the company. I have seen everything he is saying, and based on what he has said, it seems like he understands why Nintendo fails and does not want that to happen. He's a very conservative leader for the company. He's not really super. I mean, he's into having fun and doing cool stuff. But he's not we need to do something completely innovative and different. They're not throwing away the Switch brand and introducing something crazy and new. A lot of the stuff that has come out and probably started development around the time that he led was a lot of older, bigger Nintendo franchises. It's been a lot more of, hey, let's do another Switch Sports or another Wii Sports. Let's do a 2D Metroid. Let's do all this other let's bring back old series like Advance Wars and Famicom Detective Club. It's been a lot of them trying to do just okay, let's just put out as many games. We have all these franchises, let's use them. We got a new F-Zero game last year. That's insane to me, right? So I feel like he understands that this is an important time and they can't screw it up because they have in the past. Again, Nintendo has released how many consoles now? The Switch is their 7th console, is that correct?
What are 8th?
8th, is it? Oh my god, is it really? Hang on, NES, SNES, N64, GameCube, Wii U.
No.
Yeah, 7th. Okay.
7th, yeah.
So this will be their 8th console, and they have had their ups and downs. They have seen fads. They have seen genuine support. This is the healthiest they have ever been in. I feel like he won't be full of himself. But what do I know? What's the dumbest? What's the dumbest thing that this guy could try and do? I feel like everything that you said, if they do all of that, that's immediately it. But what about okay, let's see what we can get away with. One of the things that I've thought of, this isn't something that'll be this is the least concerning thing, but I do believe this is going to happen. And just come back to this video when I'm 100% right about it. I think that when the Switch 2 drops, base NSO is just going to be gone. I mean, it'll be there for the Switch, but they're going to make playing online on the Switch 2 a perk of the expansion pass, and you're going to have to pay $60 or $70, however many dollars it is, I forget, a year for Switch 2 online.
Oh god, it sounds so scummy that I can believe that will be the case.
Because it's so cheap. It's $70 Canadian is not even the base tier of PlayStation. That's over $100 for that.
I know. Yeah, you're right. But it's just such a big norm nowadays that Nintendo will just be oh, everyone else is doing it. Why can't we do it? It'd be kind of. I would still love if they have different levels of online, they're kind of doing now, with expansion and just base. Oh, if you just want online, no games at all, you can pay $20. If you want NES and SNES games, $40. If you want N64 games, whatever. It'd be a lot more. But no, I can definitely see them doing that. Be oh, if you want to play Switch online, boom, $60. Just pay up. pay up right there.
I think no matter what, the virtual console or whatever you want to call it is going to carry over, because they've said that a million times. They've said that your account is going to carry over, all your stuff is going to carry over. So considering how big of a part those old games are to the service, there is literally no way that they are just going to go start from ground zero again with Switch Online 2.
Oh, they said that. Okay, because I was wondering that if, like, oh, would they just be like, hey, all those games that were for free, okay, they'll come back, but like in different ways. But you think day one they'll all be there?
Day one, it seems like they're all going to be there. That seems like what's going to happen anyway. They've been talking about carrying stuff over, and as much as I want to have the what if they don't do backwards compatibility, it's like all but confirmed they will do backwards compatibility.
Yeah. Oh,
a bunch of people in the know are like saying 100% it's happening, and also Nintendo themselves, again, if you want people to transfer their account, what would the point of transferring the account be if you can't bring any of your old games over,
Mm-hmm. Like, that was one of the points I wrote down, like what they don't do backwards compatibility, but it's just so stupid that like Nintendo cannot fuck that. Like, it's called the Switch 2. There's no possible way that it's just you can't.
I mean, actually, I don't know. The PS4 couldn't play PS3 games.
Oh God, I guess you're right.
Ooh.
But
who knows? That's another one. Let's just have the funny name discussion. We're like pretty certain it's going to be called the Switch 2 because there were some leaks and other stuff. But like, what if it's not though? Like, come on. Like, what if it's like they're saying there's a U-shaped kickstand? Like, what if it's the Switch U?
Oh my
God!
Come
on, guys.
Or just the Switch X or the new Switch or whatever.
X. Oh, the new Switch. The Super Nintendo Switch is the worst name I've ever heard in my life. Only boomers like that name. I can't believe I still listen to people on podcasts be like, "Oh, that's the greatest name ever. That'd be the best thing." Dude, no. I'm sorry, man. Go spend time with your kids. Like, it's it's not it. It's just not it.
No, you're right. You're right. But like they can't name because like name like the Switch X or like the new Switch or whatever. But also they've done their best to make sure that games are like new games are like specifically made for different consoles. Cause if the fucking what was like the Mario Kart 8 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the family of Nintendo Switch.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe game for the Nintendo Switch family of systems.
Yeah, exactly that thing. Like they tried their best to signify like, okay, this game is for this, not for this. Mm-hmm. So they should do the same logic with the Switch 2. But like I could see them being like, well, the Switch 2 sounds too lame. We need a cooler name. We need a
Switch Plus, the next Switch, the Nintendo Duo Switch, the Switch
Switch Deluxe. Oh my God.
The Nintendo S. Ooh,
Series. Switch
that's
Series
like
S.
like just like no NS, that's what we're calling it now. Like no Nintendo Switch, it's just NS, That's like some Xbox level shit right there.
And like a little part of me kind of wants them to make up a new name, but I just know it just wouldn't make sense. I
think it would make sense if there's some sort of gimmick. I've talked about an open dock concept in literally every Switch 2 video I've done, and I still think that's going to be what they do. If they are going to have anything new, like as in like you put the thing in the dock, but it's not like a toaster, it's like a stand essentially, and it access, like that. And I think like you could have a cool name for that if you do something like that. But I mean, they could also just not bother with a mechanic like that or a gimmick like that and just call it the Switch 2. I feel like that's what's going to happen. But it's like, what if though? Like what if it's called the Nintendo Attach?
Attach. Fuck. I mean,
the M Switch, the magnetic Switch.
It's just like all of them just sound so fucking stupid. I'm just like
Switch Advanced, Switch Boy Color,
Switch Boy Color,
the Switch Cube. It's a cube now. It's a Rubik's Cube. You have to Rubik's Cube all your games together.
Oh my God! But apart from that, I think they'll just call it Switch 2. Wasn't there some rumors already saying like, oh, it's just called the Switch 2?
The factory leak says that the back of the system just says Nintendo Switch 2 on it. So I think it's going to be called the Switch 2. Which is, again, it's a good name. It makes sense. But it's like, what if they were funny, though? Yeah,
little funny thing in that. But, okay, I also want, what's it called? The next thing I want to talk about or mention, whatever, with you is, I know that the leaks kind of disprove this statement. Like, I thought it was a week ago, so I'm like, oh, does this still stand? But the power of the Switch 2, right? Because everyone likes to know
what the power is anymore. I'm gonna be honest. That spec sheet was so confusing because I thought that at first they were like, that spec sheet is just stuff from Family boards, but it's like, the stuff from Family boards is based on information, but actually it was not from Family. I don't know. Right now I'm operating under the assumption that it's almost as good as a Series S, which would be insane. Which would actually be insane.
but personally, I saw some tweets actually that was like, oh, it's confirmed, or like this is the same power as a PS4 or whatever. But like, because like, okay, everyone likes a dog on the Switch's graphics just because it's
That's
funny.
the thing to do.
Yeah, because it's funny. I get it. I think it's funny too. But like the Switch 2 though, like I think like base power. What do you think would be most acceptable? Because if it's just as powerful as a PS4, I'd be kind of happy with that.
Yeah, no, literally, because that's the thing. There's been so little jumps. Sony has literally made like Nintendo is basically on the level of an Xbox 360, PS3 right now, as they have been for the past 12 years. And Sony has basically released 4 separate console upgrades since the PS3, the PS4, the PS4 Pro, the PS5, the PS5 Pro. And because they have done so many, there has been such incremental change. It's like PS4 to PS4 Pro isn't much, but then PS4 Pro to PS5 isn't much. If you went from PS4 to PS5, there'd be a jump. There'd be, a resolution buff, obviously. Going from 1080 to 4K is crazy, right? And now the PS5 to PS5 Pro is just like, it's nothing, dude. It's literally nothing. Nintendo games are going to look like PS5 games on this thing no matter what. Like, Nintendo they're wizards. They actually know how to optimize their shit. Guaranteed, the next 3D Mario is going to look like a crazy video. Like, it's going to look like God of War.
I do agree with that, yeah. And like, I've seen some people say online, like, oh, if it's as powerful as PS4, that's 10-year-old graphics, bro. I'm like, fuck, the PS4 games still look super fucking good. Like, still look super good nowadays. So I'm just like,
Sony's PS5 games are just PS4 remasters, and you can't even tell the difference.
Yeah, don't forget, Horizon Zero Dawn just got announced for remaster. We're just like,
Horizon Zero Dawn remastered. Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go. Yeah, I know. It's a very silly situation to where I feel like I can't even make up a funny situation where, like, Nintendo, it will be more powerful, which means it's going to be good. Like, the only way I can see it being a problem is if it's like proprietary hardware. Like, if it's like one of those situations where the hardware is good, but devs have a hard time using it. It's very like in-house friendly. Like the GameCube was the most powerful console on the market when it came out, but it was first of all, the storage capability of the discs was one thing, right? That caused problems, but also just like, I think the hardware itself was harder to develop for. I think that was another thing.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't know about that going before actually, but I assume it'd be in-house friendly because who knows? Because games are also being made for like 3D parties, 30 parties, whatever. Games are being made for the PS5 or Xbox, or whatever, and they require a lot of production. So I don't know if like those kind of games can come to Switch, but dude, if the Switch 2 launches with Elden Ring, I'd like.
No, that's in the reveal trailer. Yeah. That's in the fucking. That is in the reveal.
Yeah.
That is the Skyrim moment. That is going to be the Skyrim moment where everybody goes, "Oh, so this is the kind of console we're talking about, right?" Like that's what.
Yeah. But no, a part of me does feel like, okay, what if they, like, it's almost as powerful as a PS4, which is like.
Yeah, that's like the worst case scenario, I think. But like even that might be okay. Like here's the thing, right? We're saying, oh man, these guys needed like PS5 specs to put out their games. How many, bro? Literally, it took until like a year ago for these devs to stop putting their shit out on PS4. Elden Ring's a PS4 game. Elden Ring was announced in 2019. Like, it's not. These aren't like there's barely anything that really is showing us the power of next generation. Everything was cross-gen. The only games that are exclusive right now could definitely run on a PS4. They just chose not to bother. They said, screw it. We'll save on the optimization time, which probably wouldn't take much time because the games aren't that crazy. But like, whatever, we could save on it now because it's been long enough and it'll sell well enough. That's the only reason. MK1, Mortal Kombat 1 is not on the PS4. That game could very easily be on the PS4. You want to know why? Because it's on the Switch. It's on the Switch 1. Like... They could, these games, the only game, people are trying to hype up GTA 6. That's like the only thing. That is the only thing that I could even fathom.
And how long did that game was that game in development for?
Exactly. Probably like too long.
Yeah, exactly. It's like making, like, honestly, God, yeah, making a Switch 2 like as powerful as a PS5 is almost as powerful would probably be a bad thing. Just because, like, this development would take way much longer than it should be. So PS4 would what's it called? Would be perfect. I still know people would dog on it though. People would be like, "Oh my god, 2014 graphics, come on!"
No, for real. And then they'd see the Mario and they wouldn't give a shit because it'll look like a PS5 game. Like,
yeah. So like, That's not big. That's not a big of an issue, but I do see like a small like a really bad timeline where it's like more powerful than the base Switch, but it's not to an impressive amount. We're just like, what was the point of all that weight? You know what I mean? But
all right,
yeah.
All right, you know what? We've been too positive. We've been too positive. This has been a negative. This is supposed to be a negative discussion. All right, we're like saying how these things won't happen. I'm gonna give you a hard one. This one also might not happen, but I'm gonna give you a hard one right now. Okay.
All right.
Nintendo, I am a bit concerned about the software lineup right now. We've already talked about how game development is taking longer than ever at the moment, but we are at the end of September, and we do not know of a single game coming to the Switch 1 after Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. And my thought was that, okay, probably because they're about to announce the console, it's coming out in March, but they haven't. They haven't. Will there be a gap there from Donkey Kong to the launch of the system? And then once the system is out, what does the software lineup even look like for the rest of the year? You know?
Yeah, good point. What's it called? Like, I will say like the same thing kind of happened with the Switch when the Switch first got announced and released, like because all the launch time got announced at that presentation. But still, what if that leads to Nintendo being too full in themselves? Be like, guys, it's the Switch 2, they'll buy no matter what. So our software lineup for the year is not gonna look that good, obviously. Like no one, like what? Like okay, one 3D Mario will launch ARMS 2, and that's it. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is more for the future, but like because 2025 already has Metroid and Pokemon, which are already very big releases, and there will be a big game at the launch of the system. So worst case scenario, those are the only big games they have planned for the year. I do think they throw a Mario Kart in there, and then probably beyond that, though, I'm not even sure. Maybe we'll get a few smaller titles that are cross-gen, right? Who knows how much they're going to rely on cross-gen. But one thing that I'm starting to wonder if it's going to happen, will Nintendo pull a Switch and kind of rely on Switch ports for the first little bit of the console's life cycle? Right? Because I'm going to be honest, I don't think there's going to be any sort of smart delivery, some sort of put your Switch game in your Switch 2 and it runs better. I feel like that's way too complicated tech for Nintendo to bother with. I don't think they're going to waste their time getting dev teams back in the saddle to work on these 7-8-year-old games to make them look just a little bit nicer, you know? I don't think so anyway. And it's not like they're releasing, well, aside from Metroid and Pokemon, they're not really releasing major titles right at the end of the console's life. And I mean, Metroid was in development for so long that I doubt they were making that game with this console in mind, like whatsoever.
Yeah, fair enough. But, that'd be interesting because, you know, so many Switch ports, the Wii U ports did come out. And like, at the time, we're like, okay, it's a lot, but you know what? It's fine because the Wii U did horrible. So now with the Switch has a bigger install base. So you know what? People can now play those games again like they're new. But if they do the same shit here, that's not far off from what Sony's doing now with the this release. Yeah, it's exact same thing, honestly.
Pretty much, because the idea is also that the console will be backwards compatible. So it's like if I put my Switch version of Breath of the Wild in, I'll be playing, the 30 FPS 1080p version of Breath of the Wild, but you know, I have to buy the new $70 version of Breath of the Wild. That's right, the more expensive version of Breath of the Wild to get the 60 FPS 4K resolution, maybe updated textures and better lighting, you know?
Like I'll be fully disappointed if like the first year of the Switch it has like it's Super Mario Maker 2 Deluxe or whatever. It's been 5 years since that.
Like some of these, I'm wondering, would they even bother with games that add, like, would it even be a there's new content situation? Would they just, like, because Breath of the Wild won't get a new content or anything. It would just be a 4K version of Breath of the Wild. Would we then, like, let's say 2018, I almost said, let's talk 2026. What if 2026 is just, a Kirby game, which would be cool, which would be great. Yoshi's Crafted World, 4K, 60 FPS. Fire Emblem 3 Houses, 4K, 60 FPS. What's another one that they could? ARMS 4K 60.
Yeah, Splatoon 3 4K for some reason.
Splatoon 3, yeah, just for some reason we're just porting Splatoon 3, and then Gen 10 of Pokemon, and that's your entire year, right?
And that's just fully disappointing because like what the fuck, like what were the new games? We got these games for the Switch, and those games again they have a huge install base.
You can play them on the Switch too. You could still buy them and play them on the Switch too because it's all backwards compatible.
Yeah,
and the eShop will still be up, right?
And that would be pretty bad. And I can see them doing it just to like have like, oh, we're technically releasing games, but it's like, okay, these games came out 5 or 6 years ago, and we should be getting something new nowadays as well. And like I brought up Super Mario Maker 2 because I feel like that's one of the best examples I can bring up. Like Splatoon 4, I could definitely see that coming out in 2026, just because they like to, because there was Splatoon 1, Splatoon 2. But I mean, what else is a good example? Like Fire Emblem, bro. If they did like Fire Emblem 3 Houses Deluxe or like HD, then that'd be disappointing.
How could I? Well, okay. See, if they do this one of my friends thinks they're going to do this. I don't think they will. I think they're just making a new one. Smash Ultimate Deluxe.
Yeah, and like, okay, that was one of those that I just thought of this now as well. And like, they could do a thing where it's like, oh, we have 10 more fighters, 20 more fighters, and
which would be at least exciting because it's not like just Sony where they would just take an old game, put it on the new system, even though it's already on the new system, and be like, look at how pretty it looks. The idea would be for a multiplayer game like that, you'd be adding new stuff, and for a game that got support previously, you just get more support. But I don't know. That brings me, I think, to the biggest thing, the worst possible, like, Event Horizon Nintendo Switch port to Switch 2.
I think
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I knew you were about to say that. I knew
4K 60 Mario Kart 8, and it's got the booster. But they advertised that, look, the booster course pass tracks look so much better, and they barely look as good as the Mario Kart 8 tracks.
And it's all what's it called? It's all packaged in. So it's not like it's not DLC. Isn't
Mario
that a great
Kart 8
deal?
remastered. Oh yeah, that would be. What if we get what's a bad Switch game that could get a remaster like this?
What was the last bad Switch game you could think? Like kind of like Super Mario Party.
Mario Strikers Battle League.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
And it's got like no new content or any fixes. It's just the same exact game. Switch that one might actually happen.
That can actually happen now.
That's the thing. I'm kind of worried about it happening because there have been rumblings of Breath of the Wild thing, and part of me is like, hopefully it's a one-time thing. But again, game development's getting expensive. It's going to take more time. We're getting 10 games a year right now from Nintendo, and things are great. But who knows? Maybe they're going to be like, no, we can't put out games of the quality of Luigi's Mansion 2 HD on the new system. We have to focus solely on like big games. Like, what if I don't think they would go down the Sony route because that wouldn't make sense, especially considering that this lineup, some people I talk to tell me that this lineup is the most boring lineup ever for a Nintendo console. And I think for a final year for a game console, this is an insane lineup. Like, there are so many games coming out, brand new games, smaller games, So I hope that that'll continue onto the new system. And instead of getting like old Wii U ports or old Switch ports to pass the time, we get like, we get games dug that people did that they dig a little bit deeper for. Even on the Wii U, actually, they could do a Xenoblade X remake at this point, right? Like if they took the assets of that game and updated it, because that's like a 9-year-old game, and it was running on the Wii U, which again weaker than the PS3 360. So something like that. But like if they're just doing stuff like, hey, here's a Switch game, here's Mario Odyssey 4K, where's the new 3D Mario? I don't know.
Obviously if we get those like HD remakes or remasters of like Wii GameCube games, and that's completely fine, that's obviously, but like that, but as you just said, that if we get Switch games, that'd be not cool. And that's probably one of the biggest worries now I have now. I did not think about that before this video, and now thanks for making me worried. All right.
Here, let me propose a slightly better version let me propose an ideal situation though. What if we're skipping Gen 6, 7, 8, we're going straight to Gen 9 remakes on the Switch too. Think about it.
What do you mean Gen 9 remakes of Pokemon?
That's right. Scarlet and Violet 4K 60.
Now
it actually everything?
Well, the game will actually look like, like it can look like, presentable at least. It can look like but oh god,
it's not the worst because it's like, okay, I get like some of these games don't look the best, or they just don't look crazy, but I feel like they wouldn't do those games. Here's one that I think we would totally get. Luigi's Mansion 3 4K HD. That's like such an easy like stopgap if they ever need to drop that one.
I mean, will they have to do that though? Because the game already looks so good already that it's just like...
They would probably just slap ray tracing and show a bunch of lighting comparisons. That's like that's a bad one, but I feel like I can see it happening considering how Sony does this stuff and how things have gone in the past. Like it's one that would be there's barely any difference here, right?
Yeah. Well, at that point, you just wonder, like, okay, why don't you just do the sort of thing for the first Luigi's Mansion, and everyone would like that? It's like, oh, we already got a remake on the 3DS, but no one fucking played that one.
That would be harder. That's why I won't do it.
Yeah, I know, you're right. But honestly, that was mostly what I wanted to mention. I also put down, like, what if they just marketed it badly? Like,
yeah, that's another easy one. Like, what if
yeah,
they lean into the families again? Which I'm not gonna act like they don't lean into family marketing for the Switch, but
yeah,
they do that. They started doing that. It took them, I swear, like years. Like, I think the first ad that ever featured a family and like solely a family
and
for the
kids, right?
Switch was like 2019. Like, it was like it was a family driving a kid around to put them to sleep, and like the dad was playing Luigi's Mansion 3. And even then, right, it's like still showing adults playing the thing. I think the first straight up, like, not like Wii U tier ad they ever put out was like 2021, like 3D World. It was a family playing 3D World or something.
And actually, no, that's just a nice callback to the original 3D World, I guess. But like I was thinking about like all about like, oh, the Switch 1 had such heavy marketing because that was what they really fucked up on the first one. Or with the Wii U, at least, like, okay, we gotta go really hard in here with the Switch marketing. And now maybe just be like, oh, good word of mouth now. If people bought this first Switch, they might just buy the second Switch. It was like, we'll still do marketing, but not like Super Bowl ad, like stuff type of shit, or like, just a lot less like commercials or whatever. It's like, it's not the most horrible thing, but it just like shows a lot less care that they have for the Switch 2. So I really see that.
Again, I think back to that Imagine Dragons Super Bowl ad for the Switch. Like that, that is such a strong ad. That first trailer they put out for the console where they're showing off the gimmick. I humored in that discussion I did a few weeks ago whether or not they would even bother like doing that kind of trailer to announce the console, or if it would just be a simple like direct-esque presentation where there's a like kind of just system turnaround for like a minute that just shows us what it looks like, and then they show games, and the commercials will just be commercials with stock music, right? But who knows, honestly. I feel like there will be, you know what, I'm going to say this, there will be a Super Bowl ad, but maybe there won't be, who knows.
I hope so. Like, it'd be cool, because correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of like new what's it called, console commercials or ads for like teasers or whatever, they don't really have those like in real life things anymore. It's just like, it's just like, it shows like the PS5.
They do commercials, but
yeah,
it's not like the big reveals have. Like the PS5 and series never had that for their big reveals. There's plenty of commercials that released towards the system's launch, but nothing like
obviously.
that. And the consoles came out in the holidays, so it's not like there was a big event like the Super Bowl to run a big ad for. I think, again, regardless of when the Switch 2 drops, it will probably be announced before the Super Bowl. At least I think so. So just chuck an ad into it, I think, right?
Yeah. But like personally, yeah, I think like the three biggest things that Nintendo could fuck up on really hard for the Switch 2 would be the pricing of it, the power of it, and the lineup of the first year, at least. Like how bad would if all those are shit, then like, ooh, and it really makes you question like what happened with that. But I assume that if one of them, like two of them would be good, all three of them would give it, like one of them would, like, not all of them would be fucked up, but like it just made me wonder, because like, the Switch did so good, and I just mentioned everything earlier. It's like, oh, next generation on silver platter. I'm just thinking like it can't all be like fun, like all fun,
sunshine
like, all
and rainbows. Yeah,
exactly. Something will go wrong, and then people will be like, oh, maybe all the people complaining online than we'd like to see. But who knows? With the leaks and rumors, what I'm seeing, at least, like, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty optimistic.
Let's have some fun here. What big important Nintendo series do you think they could screw up?
They screw up. Ooh.
Like screw up, like bad. Like I'm talking like bad enough for it to actually affect sales a little bit.
Well, the first one that comes to mind is just 3D Mario, because if they were launching with that and they somehow make that awful, then what other game you're gonna play, or Mario Kart, I guess. If they just refuse to launch a Mario Kart in that first year, then I'm just like, were you guys just not working on one for that entire time?
Yeah.
That fucking entire time between 2017 to 2024, you guys have just been like, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is selling so good, we don't have to, like make another one, and now they have to. I don't know.
I think if they screw up Animal Crossing, I think that's a big one that I could see, because I love New Horizons. I know a lot of people who don't like New Horizons, and the game had an insane amount of casual appeal, but I feel like there's a lot of angry Animal Crossing fans right now, like a lot of people who did not like New Horizons, and they are, like, honestly, the most vocal people I hear talk about Animal Crossing these days. Like, I don't hear a lot of people who played New Horizons talk about that game being really good. I really just hear people be like, oh, maybe I'll pick it up because it was cool and good. So part of me wonders, if the new game is not good, by any means, like, even if it's not like super, super bad, but if it's at least even a little bad, will the Animal Crossing fans have enough word of mouth to actually like cause public perception of the game to go down a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. What's it called? The game did get really popular, so I feel like it would still sell well. But maybe if it's not even like so bad, if it's just like mediocre, then people will be like, "What happened to like the Animal Crossing I used to love?" Right? I guess another one I can say, which is like sort of yes and no, would be Pokemon. If like because we already know like Scarlet and Violet, you know, sold well, but the game graphics weren't good. And I feel like might be at a breaking point where like if it keeps being like this and nothing changes, then people will actually start being like, "Fuck this shit." Where I'm not paying any attention to Game Freak anymore, or whatever they're
yeah, it did sell really well, but I think Game Freak took those lessons to heart, because I think there was at least like some like, oh, critical reception was really bad, we need to fix this thought process in their minds with that game. So I mean, Legends EA, again, we still, at the time of this recording, we haven't seen any gameplay footage of it at all yet still. So
well, you just kind of question where does Nintendo's priorities lie? Like priorities lies because you know how well these games sell, right? And then it comes back to Nintendo would be like, okay, if these games sell super well on the Switch, even if like people have a lot of criticism of it, do we change it still, or do we just keep making what we did before? They had like Animal Crossing and whatever. But was there another series? Oh well, and it kind of makes me hopeful a little bit because New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe sold really well, but it still made Nintendo be like, let's make the next 2D Mario still really cool and not just another new soup.
Yeah, that's right. Like, part of me also fears, like, if there are less games coming out in a year, more chances to screw up, more chances of people looking back, or at least looking at the console and being like, that was the bad Mario, that was the bad Zelda, that was the bad Animal Crossing, and that was all they have for the year, And that those series really count, because if those series are bad, then, like, people's judgment of the Switch 2 is going to be, like, an all-time low, right? And, like, keep going, sorry. It's all good. I remember when the Switch came out, that first year I thought was so good. I was like, Nintendo can't screw up any franchise now. Like, they are back in the saddle. They know what they're doing. And the next year was the biggest wake-up call ever. It was so many ports and 4 underwhelming games. I like Star Allies, but, at launch, it was not a finished product, and it really is just good as a fan service game. Tennis Aces was lacking in a few areas. Super Mario Party was heavily lacking, and Let's Go was a very simple Pokemon game, right? The only good, exciting thing that year was Smash Bros. I was so bummed out after, like, 2018 with the Switch, honestly.
That's a good point. And it's funny, too, because you mentioned, what's it called? Tennis Aces, Kirby, and, what was the last one again?
Mario Party.
Mario Party, and you see Mario Party and Kirby, they kind of like, made the next games a lot better.
Yeah.
I guess and Tennis Aces didn't really do that, but yeah, I guess like some franchises do take it to heart. So I guess it sort of makes me feel a lot better. Like, okay, even if Pokemon and Animal Crossing sold really well, the developers still see all the criticism and be like, okay, let's not do that for the next games, even if they do sell. They did sell really well, right? But.
I'm looking at this year and last year, and I'm trying to think, like, okay, what Nintendo games were actually not very good? I mean, this year, again, has been a lot of low-effort stuff, because they're clearly... There are none of the major development teams that have actually put anything out this year. This is the first year, I think, period, where a major EPD studio doesn't have a game out on Switch, which is obvious. They're working on Switch 2 right now. Like, I guess the new Endless Ocean was pretty bad, apparently. I was hearing it wasn't the best. But that's really about it. Maybe like
what else? There's like niche games like Super Princess Peach. I've heard good and bad. I've heard decent.
Yeah, Peach Showtime. I've heard mixed things. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. That's one that's been like kind of. It's not a good remake. That's for sure. Let me go back a little bit. 2023. We still had like Detective Pikachu Returns. That was a complete like what the hell is that?
Again, those games are really. Like, again, they're smaller type games, though, because Pikmin 4 came out last year. Everyone loved that.
Right, like...
Pikachu came out, loved again.
Yeah, they're just on such a hot streak, it's hard to imagine, but I feel like I need to have it in my head that it's possible for me to be disappointed by a Nintendo game, even though it's been a while. Actually, it hasn't been that long, because Mario Strikers Battle League came out 2 years ago, so... it's not impossible. It's not impossible,
I guess that's why I'm saying, like, just And with everyone being so optimistic about the Switch 2, like everything, all those leaks and rumors, I feel like just keep a peace of mind where you just gotta, just humble yourself a little bit. Be like, don't I expect everything to be amazing. That's yeah. But with that being said, I think I've said mostly what I want to say.
All right. One more.
Okay.
This is like, if they do this, this is actually fatal. I've said this multiple times about the other guys doing this and this being the dumbest thing ever, literally spelling out the death of your hardware. If Nintendo, for some ungodly reason, actually decides to go multi-platform in any way whatsoever, done. It's done for them. Big mistake. The biggest mistake they could ever make.
Obviously, yeah. God. If they just put like, oh, here's Mario Kart on the PS5.
Even if it's just PC or something, like the PC, biggest mistake, even like that. Like having these are the guys who won't let their characters in Fortnite. Again, more power to them. They understand the value of their IP and hardware. But people saying, like, the only people who are saying that, oh yeah, they should go multi-plat and put their big games on other consoles are Xbox executives. Because genuinely,
they laughed in their face. Yeah.
The games sell hardware. That's all there really is to it. I don't know why these companies haven't realized it. Sony won last generation because they had the better games. That's the reason why they won. Not because they were more powerful or any system-wide features or any subscription service. No, they had the better games. It was either you buy the Xbox for the third-party games or you buy the PlayStation for the third-party games and the first-party games. And so you're going to buy the console with more games on it. And that's why everybody's on the PS5 right now. Sony decides to jump ship to PC. Now, granted, there's already how many people who invested into the PlayStation ecosystem to where it doesn't matter anymore and they will just be making more money. I understand that. That might not be the case for Nintendo. A lot of people will just buy Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games. Myself almost included. If a retro game or something that isn't very powerful at all comes out on a Nintendo system, I'll buy it there. But otherwise, like, if it's a game that looks even a little bit impressive, I'm just going to be like, okay, I'll get it elsewhere, right? Because I know the Nintendo version won't be the best performing version out there, but I don't care because, again, Nintendo console for Nintendo games. That's how it always is to me. So I feel like that's how it is to me, somebody who buys every Nintendo game. But not even talking about the people who will only buy a Nintendo console and buy like Mario Kart and Zelda and Animal Crossing and Smash Bros. And that's it. If you put any of those on another system or PC even, that's a huge chunk of people that you're losing out on.
100%, yeah. And like, that's one thing I don't expect, like, I like almost like 99% believe that's never going to happen just because, like, they're so protective of their IPs where, they would just, just take off, fan creations online of those games because, like, that's our property. You don't get to do that. And, like, that would only happen if, like, Nintendo consoles are in the dirt, like they're not selling. Their games are still really good though. So you're just like, you know what? We need money. All right, put Mario Odyssey 2 on the PC or whatever. Like, and I really don't see that happening.
If they'd still been in the Wii U boat for the entire Switch generation, and the Switch was the only system they had, and it was only selling like 10 million. It was only at like 20 million units right now. I think then they would consider it. But that is not the world we live in, and they understand the value of their IPs, and their brand is stronger now than it ever has been. Like, genuinely, everybody will say, I love Animal Crossing, Mario, Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, and Zelda. I will buy the new Nintendo console for those games, guaranteed. And if you take even one of them out, that's an easy 10 million sales you're losing out on.
When a port of a 10-year-old game is it's sold better than the NES, like, you don't have to worry about that at all, right?
No, but for real.
I mean, that also kind of remember what's called, not reminded me, made me something think of, like, what if, like, another way they would fuck up if they just do microtransactions,
Oh, yeah, I don't know how I didn't think about that. I was talking about the whole ruining games thing. Oh my god, that's the easiest way. Smash Bros. Has a battle pass and currency that you have to buy the characters. Characters technically cost like $30, but you're only spending like a certain, that's just because that's the increments you buy the characters in. Mario Kart, gotcha loot box mode where you have to spend real money on currency that you do for pulls for characters and carts, like Tour, but it's actually in the console games.
Yeah, but don't worry, the game is free, but everything else other than the first track isn't free,
This is the third time I'm talking about Mario Strikers Battle League today, but genuinely, I swear that game feels like it was built for microtransactions. There's like a stadium customization system, and getting the currency to buy the parts for the stadium it's so slow. It's so slow, and it was so hard to actually get anything. But then when you got an upgrade or a design change for your stadium, you'd have to buy the old one back. Like, what? You only do that if it's like an infinite, like if currency is that hard to get, and you are basically asking the player to have an infinite number of currency. I feel like they wanted to put microtransactions in the game.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And yeah, I don't think whatever happened, because again, Nintendo doesn't do that. But I'm like, if they're feeling really stinky, or you're feeling like you just snorted a bunch of coke, and like, you know what?
If they are guys, full of themselves, like you said,
yeah, they will just be like, okay, guys, microtransactions time. But
again, Nintendo would never make you pay for online.
Yeah. Oh god. You know what? But as long as their online still doesn't give voice chat, then I don't think they'll do microtransactions.
Yeah, I feel like one comes before the other, but you never know. They could introduce characters again. Smash Bros is a fighting game, and every other fighting game has a currency system and a Fortnite shop and a battle pass. So
yeah,
honestly, and you know what? People have been begging for Smash Bros skins for years, and I'm like, no. Don't do it. Don't put microtransactions in Smash Bros. It's not going to go well. You guys don't want this. And it's going to be, everyone's about to get so monkey's pod when there's a Fortnite shop in the new Smash Bros. For skins and stuff, and there's only like one color palette swap for character. Like, I'm not ready for it.
Want more 50 cents? Okay, and then people, everyone buy a skin, and Nintendo's like, oh, we can do this, can't we? And then that will spiral down to something where it's a lot worse.
You know what? That is like number one on the this is so bad and this is possible. Like there's like a it's like a political compass between like possible, impossible, terrible, not so bad. That's like top right or whatever. That's like literally.
I did not think about that earlier. Like, I swear to God, it's such an easy one we could have mentioned. But
I don't know how we didn't think about that. That's I literally start talking about how they could mess up games, and I don't even bring that up. That's actually so bad. That would be the worst. That wouldn't affect their sales or their positions, but we would all be really mad.
Yeah, and be like, it just spell a dark time for them. But I don't know. With that said, again, I don't know. Do you have any other last minute?
Things, what? How about something like personal and specific? Like a specific thing that I'd be like, personally, you'd be like, oh man, like I know it doesn't matter, but I'm kind of miffed about it,
Oh, I did think about like, well, one thing is the UI. If it's just like a bland UI again, like, it doesn't change the games that much. Still easy to access. I'm like, no, my Switch can't be green. It can be color blue now, just simple black and white things again, which people have been asking that for ever since the Switch came out, and they just never did it.
Yeah, I don't know why they never bothered with it.
And now after all these years, Nintendo at a point where it's like, okay, we're gonna add that for the Switch 2 to make it more marketable, or will they just be like, who the fuck cares, mate? Just play the games. Yeah.
For me, I don't really know. I'm trying to think. There's like you know what? If they sit on if there's like a good amount of IPs that don't get any use,
Like there's no Donkey Kong game again, then
that was the first one I was thinking of. There's no Donkey Kong. If we don't get Pikmin 5, right? Like, I've heard my friends say Smash Ultimate Deluxe, but in my mind, I'm like, shit, are we gonna get like the Smash situation, the Mario Kart situation for Smash now, where there's not gonna be a new entry for 10, 15 years, and they're just gonna milk the old one through 2 console generations?
It's weird because like I wouldn't hate it because again those fire reveals are still so cool. I still have a lot of fun with Smash Ultimate, but like it would be kind of disappointing being like, okay guys, I love Smash Ultimate, but we're not going to evolve this series anymore. This is the peak.
I want the hype cycle of a new Smash Bros. I did that whole pitch video for a reason because I think I've seen a ton of polls where people are like, what big Nintendo series are you most excited to see on Switch 2? And I am excited to see 3D Mario and Mario Kart, and I know those are definitely like closer than Smash, definitely. But I really want to see what they're going to do. Like, I know it's going to be exciting for me and my friends and everybody when they finally say, here's the next Smash Brothers. And I really hope it's not Ultimate Deluxe, because that would just be more of Smash Ultimate, and I'd be excited for it. And, it'd be nice to get all those character reveals again, but it's like, I don't know. I want something fresh. you know?
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I can definitely see Nintendo doing again, because I think well, Sakurai, he had this whole YouTube channel, but I think he's ending it soon, or like putting on.
Yeah, he's
hiatus.
ending it because they're going into full production. That's my bet.
Mm-hmm.
They formed that studio, or they put out a public name for that studio last year, Studio 2, Studio S. They definitely did that because development was starting. Then they added more spirits to Smash Ultimate. Like he's said a million times that he won't do another one, but he is doing another one right now. Smash Bros has started development. It'll be out probably 2026, 27 if I had to make a bet.
And it'd be kind of cool just to get those old series back again, well, Kid Icarus, who fucking knows? Because now Sakurai is probably only making Smash because how that, like you said, Donkey Kong.
Somebody else could do something. Donkey Kong, yeah.
What else was I gonna say? Wario has not Wario Land.
Wario Land, I'm kind of cool with. There's enough indies that are doing the same thing. I want a Wario World. I want another 3D Wario,
And like they have brought some series back. Metroid's obviously.
Metroid has come back for sure. I can't wait to see another 2D one. Oh my god, Metroid 6 is gonna go crazy. Even there was even a ton of those little reveals in the Switch era. Some of those games might not panned out to be amazing. I'm looking at Switch Sports and Mario Strikers, but those were big franchise returns that got me very excited. Famicom Detective Club, Advance Wars, stuff like that. I want to see some just crazy comebacks on the Switch too.
Or some cool remakes like.
But
Earthbound would be kind of cool.
Yeah, but if we don't see it, I'll be a little bummed. Like, I remember in the first year or two of the Switch, the Wii U and 3DS generation felt so simple and short. It just felt like here's less of what you had last generation or whatever, and that was the first console generation I really went through. So it was kind of disappointing in the first year or two where it felt like it was just, here's the thing that we did on the 3DS and Wii U, but again and again. And in some cases, literally again, because we just ported over a few games like Donkey Kong and Hyrule Warriors.
You're right, but okay. With that being said, we kind of got off topic a little bit.
Yeah, it would be just disappointing if it was a similar lineup as the last gen. Like if it is literally shot for shot. Although granted, it's been so long that I don't think I'd mind that much. But like if it's just shot for shot the last 2 years and we don't have any surprises early on, I'd be kind of bummed.
Exactly, but I don't know with that. I assume Nintendo knows what they're doing. Like they have there's a good blueprint played out for them. Just like 3D Mario, maybe Mario Kart in the first year. Next year have Animal Crossing, maybe Smash comes out as well. Third year, and also Pokemon, it becomes third year, and you can start releasing the Luigi's Mansions, like the Metroid 6s or whatever, or that's already a good first 2 years, 3 years right there.
And by then I'm sure there will be something. By 2028, I'm sure we'll already be in the hype cycle for the next Zelda. So they definitely have they've got time. Things will happen. You didn't even say Splatoon. There you go. That's another big one.
Exactly. All right.
But yeah, I think we both agree they have this generation hands them on a silver platter. But who knows? Anything could happen. Anything could happen.
I think it's very interesting next 4 or 5 months. That's also
we're gonna see it soon, but I don't think it's gonna be that. I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on.
Where can they all find you as per usual?
The glass half full. Depending on when this video comes out, maybe my next video will already be up. Maybe no, it will definitely be up. If you're okay,
I got some bad news. I'm uploading the video in 2 hours.
Okay, no, definitely not. Then next week something. So next week I'll have that fucking finally after 3 months. But it was fun.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see it.
Well, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see when the Switch 2 comes out. I cannot wait to see my have posted a reaction to that or whatever. Just see what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm excited, but gotta keep myself. I gotta enjoy the moment because Nintendo could collapse at any minute.
Exactly. Well, I hope you guys have a good one. I guess. I don't know.
Keep yourselves cornered for more Switch 2. Definitely more Switch 2. But also just more general Nintendo and gaming coverage. If there's no news for the next little bit, I think we're going to take a little backseat from talking about Switch 2 stuff all the time because there are other things happening. Happening. So I'd like to touch on that stuff as well. But yeah, see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Bye.